biological indicators of zoonotic, emerging, and emerging pathogens, and monitors of environmental pollution together with Dr. Yoshikawa and Philip. Yun ang main research namin. So, alam niyo na, no? I'm not that expert. Ayun ang mga expert. Sa diseases lang ako. Sa taxonomy sila. Alam niyo na, bawal is a mammal. It's the only mammal in the world naturally capable of flying. No? Yung mga iba hindi. Kasi because of the presence of the patagium, the membrane. Yan. You have two groupings, the mega, the big. Then the small, the micro. This is fruit eater and that is insect. Then a special grouping is si Dracula, vampire bat, no? Sa bloodsucker. Okay? Sanivore. Okay? So, pag sinabing bats, bad impression and misconception. So you will have the creatures of the dark, bad, they're ugly and obnoxious, they are pested for fruits and orchids. Yung akala nila pest, then they are symbol of ghost, death, and disease. So yan si Dracula. Yan yung vampire bat, hindi na sumisira. Pero actually, hindi naman pala sinisira. So kung may bad, may good din. So what are the good ones? Useful role of the bats. So kung may Dracula, may Batman and Robin. Then seeders and pollinators, biological control, guanos, natural fertilizer, and biological monitor of environmental degradation. So yan na. Kalaban ni Dracula, Batman and Robin. Then yan na. That is the flying fox, which is actually seeders and pollinators, and very good insect control. Okay? So ito yung dalawa, symbiosis, the Venus flytrap and the binubugaw niya yung insect papunta doon. Okay? Then, that's not bad. Ayan, ito, yung anatomy niya. So actually, 5 rin yung digits niya, so that is the patagium. Yun yung membrane. No? Ayan, no? Pag binilang mo, parang daliri ng tao din. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no? Ayan, okay. Itong mga to, pseudo-flyers. We call them gliders. Yan. Because when you say flying, the flying is pure, that's why it's in quotation. And flying lemur are actually gliders capable only of moving by means of gliding from a high to a low place. They are incapable of true sustained distant flight. Whereas the bat, it is capable of sustained flight from Cagayan to Batanes, no? And then even up to Southeast Asia, no? Because they have been tagged by a radio transmitter, they were able to demonstrate that they can cross international barriers and even wide span of ocean. So ito siya, when the bat baby is still small, it is still carried by the mother while flying. Pag medyo malaki na, iniiwanan na lang together with the aunties and some nannies, no? To take care of them. Because they are mammals, so when you say mammal, mama, mamariglan, they secrete milk. They need to suck the milk. Okay? So yan, yung mga iba, talagang very useful, no? Very useful sila. You name it, rimas, bananas, mangoes, fig, cashew, dates, avocados, century, peaches, cloves, giant columnar cactus, organ pipe, and saguaro. So a lot are pollinated and seeded by the bats. Okay, and then, yun, different ones. And then this one, the banana blossom. Bat, no? Okay. Ayan, you can see them. Insect. And then these are the flying. Kaya tinawag na flying fox. Looks like a dog face, di ba? Mukhang aso. So it's actually flying fox. So they are frugivores. And then the bats are capable of echolocation, which is the animal model for the invention of the radar. Without the radar, the result of World War II would have been different. Matatalo tayo, mananalo yung Axis. But because of the radar, we won. Okay. In the sea, sonar naman will be whales. Kung may radar, in the sea, it is more of the sonar. Yan. Submarine, ganun. Same principle, then that is also echolocation. Yan. You have the active, and then the passive. And then this is the one. This is taken from the internet, and these are actually in the Corn Belt area of the United States. Every night, these insectivore bats fly, and they get rid of the corn moth pest. Without this, there would be no good harvest of the corn. Uubusin kasi ng moth yung flowers ng corn. So they are very useful. And in fact, it is more effective than pesticides because it is environmentally friendly. Ito yung maganda. The frog eating bat. Yan, but sometimes, the table is turned. It becomes the bat eating frog. Hindi palaging panalo, di ba? Hindi naman palaging panalo. Bumabalik na din sila. Yan. Ano natin? And still growing, no? The number is still growing. No, ito na. What are zoonotic diseases? Okay. The dog is the example. And then, Da Vinci, Vitruvian Man. Pag sa klase ko, pag pinakita ko yan, what is the most zoonotic disease transmitted from dogs to man? Everybody knows it? Yes! Rabies! Rabies, talagang yun ang nakakatakot. And so hopefully, by year 2020, the Philippines will be declared free of rabies. No? Hindi rin nakakahiya kasi yung mga ibang bansa kaya may rabies din sila. Kaya lang ang rabies nila is in the wild. In North America, USA, and Canada, they do not have rabies in the domestic dogs. But they have rabies in the wild, called the Zoonotic rabies. Baliktad sa atin. Hopefully, wala pa kami nakikita ng rabies in the wild, but we still have rabies in the dog population. Okay, so baliktad natin. So that is anthropozoonotic disease. So you have the Vitruvian Man again. But this time, the animal is the cattle. Anong sakit kaya? TB. TB, tuberculosis, yan. Kaya nga, if you are employed in a dairy industry, directly handling animals or byproducts, cheese, milk, every year you must pass a negative X-ray examination, negative for TB. Kasi, isang ubo mo lang, yan, dalawang yan ang most susceptible to tuberculosis. Yan. Tsaka ito. Yan. Actually, dito na-develop yung skin test. Skin test in cattle is done in the caudal fold, doon sa buntot. Whereas yung unggoy, dito sa eyelid niya. Eyelid. May reason yan kasi yung baka, after 72 hours, you have to examine. Madaling hawakan. Pero ito, alam niyo naman, hirap hawakan niya kasi parang tao yan. So, they assign the eyebrow, the eyelid as the... Kasi pag na-inoculate mo after 72 hours, you have to catch it again. Gaya dito. Ngayon, pag nandiyan niya siya, you don't have to touch. Kasi titingnan ka lang niya, anong kilat na. Kaya, positive, you don't have to hold. So, nandun yun, ha? And that is behavior also of monkeys, no? Kaya sa mga monkeys, para din tao eh. Kapag dominant yung alpha male, kasama niyo yung mga subordinate, may nag-away doon, malalaman mo magaling yung alpha male. Kasi pupuntahan niya lang yun. Titingnan niya lang. Mag-aawat na. Pag hindi nag-awat yun, kakagatin niya. Para bang magulang nag-aaway yung dalawa. Po, makuha kayo sa tingin. So, ganun na, titignan. Kasi pag sa unggoy, kapag tinignan mo ganyan, tapos tinignan mo ulit, away na. Bakit yung mga fraternity, bakit nagrambulan? Kasi nagkatitigan. Ganun lang yun, di ba? O makuha ka sa tingin, di ba? So, may unggoy pa rin sa atin. Okay, so, yan. And look at this. Almost every animal, the wild ruminants, the ferrets, the badgers, rodents, elephants, birds, pig, deer, coyote, even fish can be affected by tuberculosis. So, yan, ang zoonotic animals. So, ito yung bago namin concept. It is called conservation medicine. Dati, animal and human lang, zoonosis and anthropos. But when you involve the environment, it is called conservation medicine. That is the old name. The new name naman is One World, One Health. One World, One Health. And conservation medicine is a required course in most of the veterinary curriculum. So viral diseases transmitted by bats? Yeah. So you have rabies, Hendra, Nipah, SARS, and Ebola. These are the most common ones. Kamandag, yun no? Si Dracula. But ito yung totoo. Yan. Yan. The vampire bat. Yun. Ha? Yan ang totoong nagtatransmit ng rabies. Okay? So what are spelunkers? They're fevers, no? Yeah. So what are they looking at? Bats. But before you enter, yan, dapat may respirator ka. Because they found out that if the cave is colonized by vampire bats, the air inside has a lot of viral particles. When you enter, you don't have to be bitten to come down with rabies. Because some spelunkers entered the cave, and 2 of them came down with rabies without any evidence of bite. So possibility is that it is by inhalation, when the air is concentrated with viral particles. Yan, so this is the lysability ng virus. So you will have, actually, in Asia and even in the United States, you have, as I told you, rabies is an ancient disease. We must not be ashamed because even rich countries, they have rabies in the wild. No? Whereas in other countries, it is not present. The cleaner countries are Japan, Taiwan, and even Australia and New Zealand. You know, really is the country. Okay? So, this is known as the sylvatic form of rabies. So you have the number 1, the raccoon, the fox, the wolf, and the skunk. In the United States. Kasi minsan, because of urbanization, the animals now are marginalized. So they put up fast food McDonald's, and the rabies that they produce is a lot. So instead of the wild animals going hunting in the wild, they just go to the urban areas and scavenge the rabies, the rubbish. So they are very prone to spread the disease because naturally when you have a dog, a dog guard dog, he sees the raccoon, he will run after the raccoon, and if it gets bitten, then they will become rabies. Good thing if it is the dog, but if it is human, like for example babies or children, oh, ang cute ng animal, so when you get hold of it, they are bitten, so you get rabies. Okay. So, animal reservoirs of rabies worldwide, and look at this, bats. Australia has, Asia has, there, and then also South America, and then southern part of the United. And this is very important because this is the area wherein you concentrate the vampire bat that transmits the rabies. So if this is the wounds caused by vampire bats on cattle in Pantanal. Yeah. Look at the wound. When bats stay in the forest, the wild animals are very aware. They are very sensitive. So they cannot have an easy meal. However, when people build their farm near the forest, especially swine and chicken, the vampire bat are very happy because these domestic animals are not so sensitive. No? Medyo tanga. Magaling puntahan. So they can lapit down the chicken. And then they found out, why is it that the vampire bat can go near the animal, then bite it without the animal feeling it? When they examine the saliva of the vampire bat, the saliva contains an anesthetic. Just like when you go to the dentist, before you are injected, they wipe something, lidocaine on your gum, before poking the needle. Same also, when the vampire bat licks the skin, it is anesthetized. And then, when it bites, very sharp, then they can pinpoint the capillary, just like mosquitoes. No wonder when mosquito alights on your skin, 100% it can get the blood. It can sense the small capillary, just like also the vampire bat. And then the other thing is that, why is it that when they cut it and they lick it, it continues to flow without clotting? Because it has anticoagulant in the saliva. But then when it licks, it contains the rabies virus, then it will transmit the rabies virus from the vampire bat to the animal or humans. So that's it. But then, that is a good plus point, because this is now a topic of research on how to harness this for a useful purpose. This is the rabies virus. It's bullet shaped. That's why it's called rhabdoviridae. And disease is fatal. You know, when you say rabies, very difficult to understand. When you translate it into Latin, rabio, rage. So something that becomes loko-loko, no? Or crazy. The Japanese word for that is very descriptive. In Japanese, rabies is called kyo-ken-byo. If you translate it, it means crazy dog disease. So very descriptive, crazy dog disease. Parang mga Batanggenyo, tawag namin yan, asong bangaw. No? Ayan, asong bangaw. Yeah. Okay. And you know, when you write in Chinese character and Japanese, it is very descriptive. It's like, for example, you have diabetes. And ordinary people, what is diabetes? Very difficult to explain. But when you write it in Japanese character, it is Tonyo-byo, sugar urine disease. So it's already explained. So pathogenesis. Tonyo-byo, very, very, very nice. Because I finished my MS and my PhD from Japan. Okay. So that's it. In the olden times, how do you diagnose rabies? Now it's very easy because you do ELISA very fast. But during our old times, it takes a long time. You have to do mouse inoculation test and then get the brain of the person that died, and then you make a histopath examination and look for this one. Yeah. This is the neuron, as I said, and you call that the inclusion bodies. Particularly in rabies, it's called Negri bodies. Negri not because it is black, but it is Dr. Negri, an Italian histologist who first described it. That's why it's called Negri bodies. And that is the ultimate gold standard for diagnosis during the time. But it takes a long time. Now, in less than 24 hours, then they will know if you have rabies or not. They examine the blood. No? Okay. So yes, Dracula again. Vampire. Okay. Now, what is Dracula actually? The disease vampirism. Actually, it's rabies. Look at the clinical signs. Drooling of saliva, afraid, delight. And then they glorify it, afraid of holy water. Actually, any water will do because the patient has hydrophobia. So any water will do. Kaya pinaganda nila kunyari holy water. And then, when you are bitten, you become a vampire. When you are bitten by a rabid animal, you become rabid. So, actually, the Dracula vampirism is just rabies. It's just rabies. So that's again another two diseases, which is the Nipah and the Hendra. Before the advent of molecular biology, they separated the two viruses, but now we found out that they have the same molecular structure, so it is now known as Nipah virus. The same. But they affect different animals. So, in Queensland in 1994 and 1995, they reported what is known as equine morbillivirus. This is the old name, no? That is the classification, the taxonomy. And then, the horses are affected. Whenever diseases, zoonotic diseases affect humans, you always call the CDC to investigate. So the people did their cows and investigate. And it caused death of the horse caretaker, the horse groom, death. And then they found out that even rabbits are also affected, and they suspect the fruit bat as the carrier. So that is Hendra in horse. Then from Malaysia, Port Amy, from Nipa. If it is horses in Australia, in Malaysia, it is the pig affected. Why? Because during the haze, the haze, you are very familiar with the haze, no? Every summer, when they burn the forest, naturally the ecosystem of the forest becomes disturbed, especially the bats. So the bats escape the haze. From the forest, they go to the resident areas. Resident areas, especially those near pig farms. And the haze, they burn it to plant a cash crop, palm oil. Palm oil. Cash crop yan. And so again, the CDC is called to investigate. So the pigs die. Yes. And then they found out that it is actually the fruit bat, because the ecosystem in the forest is disturbed because of the haze. They go to, and when they eat the fruit, and there is a pig pen down, you know, the bats do not eat it very clean. Some of them will remain, so it will drop in the pig pen. It is contaminated with the saliva that contains the virus. So when the pig eats it, then it's contaminated, and then the pig will affect also the caretaker. So they found out that it is the fruit bat. Okay? This is our old house in the forest. Our old house. So I play basketball in the morning, but before I play, I see to it that I clean. You know, there are poops, bat poop there. See, the seed of the guava. So you have to clean this. Otherwise, you get contaminated. Because they roost here and then they eat the fruits and then they drop here, contaminated. So very possible, no? They're contaminated. And the pathology is that it also acts on the lung. On the lung, this is known as alveolar hemorrhage. In the normal lung, this should be blank because that is just air. But look at this. You have pieces of red blood cell that is actually pulmonary hemorrhage. And that can kill you. And then the brain also has hemorrhages. Okay. It is now the Handipap, it's called now the Handipap virus. So, you can see the transmission. In veterinary medicine, we always look at animals as possible carriers. Actually, the pig is an amplification. Actually, it is a mixing cauldron. Before going, it has to pass the pig. Everything has to pass the pig. No? So that is a mixing cauldron. So, among the religion, that's why maybe it's not eaten by the Muslim, no? Maybe it's because of the pig. And then, of course, the scary one is the Ebola. This is the scary one, the Ebola. Okay? In Africa, it can kill a lot and causing hemorrhages. Then, SARS, di ba? SARS epidemic. Okay? SARS coronavirus. What's that? Civet, the alamid, no? And then the bat. Sabi nila, disease is transmitted from the civet cat to the bat to humans. But careful study shows otherwise. It could be from the bat to the civet cat, then to humans. Kape. Yes, kaya na kape. Yan ang kape. Yun. Napakamahal, no? Eh, dumaan lang naman sa pupo ng ano eh. It's very expensive, ha?
It's ours.
Dumaan lang sa pupo. It's already expensive, no? Ha? Okay, so, that's it, ha? That's the... Okay, yan. Coffee alamid, no? So, yes. Asusena, di ba? Asusena. Among Asian nations, the Filipinos are not that voracious. Which nation is the most voracious?
China.
Di China rin. Di
Vietnam.
Korea. Korea. Why Korea? They raise dogs particularly for the meat. When I saw it, my God, I call it broiler dogs because they have big muscles, you know. And actually, it is an open secret. It is not sold within the city. I stayed in Korea for 2 years as visiting professor. It is not within the city. If you want to eat, you go to the suburb. So there is the restaurant. Then when you investigate at the back, there are kennels of dogs. And then the way they eat it, even the most voracious Filipino lasinggero, with the pulutan, you let them eat the Korean dish, cannot eat it. Because in Filipino, when we cook the azucena, we mask the smell with all the recado and all the spices. But in Korea, very simple. Boil. Boil. Without the doggy smell, that's not dog. Has that doggy smell. And then, many of the Filipinas who got married with the Koreans. Okay, now, don't worry according to the Koreans. If the old people that eat the dogs will die, the younger generations no longer eat. It's like also in Japan. The older generations eat whale meat, but then the younger generations no longer eat whale meat. No? So that's it. So if they are married to old Korean guys, they see to it that they have a stockpile of dog meat in the freezer. Because anytime the husband orders, I want to eat dog meat, so she can cook. So that's it. Actually, nothing happens with the Seoul Olympics, no. They say, ban the Olympics because the Koreans are eating dogs. No, nothing happens. Because that is their own custom. No sovereign country can dictate the culinary practice of one nation. They do it, no. So that's it. Even in China and Vietnam, they do it. Actually, in the Philippines, it is banned. But when you go to Baguio, and you're looking, they can feel, sir, would you like to eat kambing na walang sungay? Oh, that's the password. That is the password. Sir, would you like to eat meat of the goat without any horn? Oh, kambing na walang sungay, that is the password. Because it is prohibited by law. But it's still, the business is there. Okay? Actually, even in New York, when this young Korean guy was working in New York, so the American officeman said, oh, you're from Korea, I will treat you to classical New York street food. New York street. So they went outside, and they saw this hot dog stand. And it is already served. The Korean said, oh, I did not know that you Americans also eat dogs. In Korea, we eat dogs, but we do not eat that part of the dog. So that's the thing. So, even the traffic in wildlife is a big business and still a problem. And this is where you transmit the zoonotic diseases. Even cats, huh? They eat cats, huh? Xiao meow. Okay. So that's it. Okay, so it is the Philippines, everyone knows. Okay, now the question is, are these zoonotic diseases present in bats in the Philippines? That is what we want to answer. Okay. So, the objective to determine presence of potential of selected areas in the Philippines. So, these are the objectives that we had. Number 1 and number 5 still, especially number 5, difficult to attain. But 2, 3, 4 we were able to satisfy already, no? Okay. So, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This is our interest. Palawan. That's a problema. It's a different policy makers that they have. Unlike here, we just submit the proposal, and then they get to commit. In Palawan, different. You submit it, then you defend it before the council. You present it and then you defend it. We do not have that luxury of time. Because our Japanese counterparts, they only have a small, short time to do the research. No? Whereas when you do it, actually, they are strict, but if you follow the rules and regulation, you do it maybe, but then we cannot have that luxury. So we just sample from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So in Luzon, we have the UP campus, the Botanical Garden, then in Quezon, the Antimona, and then Pulilio Island in Quezon, UP Diliman campus also, and then Paubi in Quezon City, this is now MBB, okay, and then Tanay Rizal, Santo Tomas, Batangas, and Mabini Pang, this is the latest that we have, Mabini Pangasinan. In Tanay and Santo Tomas, we are interested because in Tanay we have a big monkey breeding center. And also in Santo Tomas, and we want to establish whether the monkeys are also a part of the cycle of the virus. In Visayas, we sampled in Aklan, in Panayam. And then in Mindanao, Samar Island, Malagos Garden, Resort, Talikod Island, and then Governor Generoso also. Yeah, so that's Philip. Actually, before Dr. Ishikawa proposed a joint cooperative research with UP, he first went to Thailand. But then he said, in Thailand, a lot of regulations, very strict, and the graduates of the different universities do not jive together. They have a turfing. If the veterinarian is a graduate of Chulalongkorn, he goes to the field, and then the field veterinarian is from Mahidol University, they do not jive. Unlike here, in the Philippines, Dr. Ishikawa was very glad because when we went to the field, all of the veterinarians were my former students. And even the permit, they can easily get it. And of course, the atmosphere and the ambience of the working condition is very good, especially with cooperation with the staff of the MNH and so on and so on. So yeah, it's good. And when Dr. Yoshikawa came in and wanted to look at the different species of bats, we go to Museum of Natural History. The report collection, although it's limited, so they opened it. And Dr. Yoshikawa was very, oh, a lot of species. So the following month, we proceeded to 007 until now. It's still continuing. Huh? So that's really big to have it related Jane. So after collecting, then we process in the lab. That's this veterinary molecular biology laboratory. Okay, so at first, these are the things that we got during the first cropping. And the most important thing is we are interested in this because this is the Rosetus bat is very famous for transmitting a lot of diseases, especially Ebola. Yeah. Okay, so that's the fruit bat. Okay, that's the fruit bat. And this is the one in Pulilio Island Cave. I took the shot, and then at this one and they get the measurement together. And then no electricity in the middle of the rice field, so we have to use headlights to be able to do the examination. And although I'm a field worker, mostly in the open field, vaccinating cattle, doing a it was my first time to go inside the cave. And the experience is really, I cannot forget it. Very, very important for me. Huh? Because when we entered, where do we enter? Sir, the entrance is there. How can you enter? Very small. Okay, we demonstrate. Then, paa muna. Then it becomes dark. That's the way you have to put on your light. Then I realized that we have to wear boots because what is this, mud? No, that's guano. It's guano. And then we entered, and then we were met by this fine. It's inside the cave. Why is it raining? It is not rain, sir. Tayo po yan, tsaka pieces na tayo. Pupo and urine. But it was really very important for me. So that we do not want overcatch. No? Oh, enough, because we have enough, so we have to. Okay, from there, where do we exit? Sir, doon. We enter doon, exit namin doon, so we have to do rock climbing. So we were very dirty. but very satisfied. But good thing in Polillo, you came out very dirty, then there is a good beach. So when you swim, the saline will disinfect you. Salt solution. Di ba nilip ka na, di ba? So, no problem. So that's the thing. Very good example of, that's why I think entry to those caves limited, not restricted only for scientific purposes, no tourism and so on. I think they have to do that. So yan, so we do anesthesia, xylazine, intraperitoneal, then we do intracardiac bloodletting. And then inside the cave, you have the gecko and a resident python. Python, resident python. See the ecdysis. The ecdysis, the changing. And it no longer goes out of the cave because that is its own territory, because when the stomach is empty, it just goes out and it is a smorgasbord. The bats are flying, he just gets. So he doesn't have to leave. That's his territory. That's the python, okay? And then this one here, we have to have the mask to go inside the cave. And then this is my favorite picture of all. Okay? So after collecting, we have this. Why this is very important? Because according to the Polillo Foundation, when they still have the fund, they posted a guard here. To guard, ano yung binapatay dito? What is it that they are guarding here? Nawala na, no more. Bird's nest. Bird's nest, there. But when the fund dried up, they can no longer pay the salary of the guard, so the guard went out. Once the guard turned back, then the resident consumed, harvested all. All. Oh, walang tinira, not even one. Because it is tempting. If you sell it to the Chinese restaurant, the first class, the very white one, is more expensive than gold per ounce. Yes, that's how expensive it is. And then it's graded grade 1, 2, medyo maitim na konti, and then, but the first class. So that's it. And then, Mang Enteng, the former poacher, now guard. Yeah. And then the whole thing, very important. So actually, once there is money, cash, very tempting. That's why in Palawan Nido, the bird nest hunters are regulated. And they know they do not get everything. They have to leave some, because otherwise it will not continue. So the technical procedures that we adopt, and samples, geographic areas, and then we do ELISA, antibody, and then Genome of Ebola, Restore, Rabies, Japanese, and the others. Okay? Okay, these are the researches that we undergrad also. Study the structure of the hair patterns of the different species of bats. Then we did also some scanning electron microscopy of the hair pattern. And you can distinguish the different species. Okay, this is the Ococevirus. And then, see, only in Rosetus that we get the positive one. Now this is the diagram, the difference. Because what is important is the gamma herpes viridae that we isolated. Okay, this is another good finding that we had. All previous samples were taken from pristine and clean environments like Makiling Reservation, Polillo Island, and Aklan. There was no apparent increase of the enzyme CY4450 from bats. This enzyme is an indicator of environmental pollution, especially liver enzyme. So if you have high activity, then there is evidence of high pollution in the environment. So hindi naman the samples taken from UP campus, when compared to the samples taken from PAUB, there is more threat of pollution along PAUB Road, but no significant difference. That is already, because when you are in UP and then in PAUB, you will not feel that you are in the city because a lot of trees are planted, especially along the Quezon Boulevard area. A lot of trees are planted. Maybe that is one reason why, even with the exhaust to the vehicles and so on, the bats are not affected. So that is a good finding, because in comparison with the F1, it's really pristine. But in the city, if you campus, Quezon City, still, there is no indication that there is. So really, plants are good cleaners of pollution. Trees and plants. Okay, so these are the results that we have. We suspect some dengue, even dengue virus antigen from Polillo Islands. Then salmonella also, collected from Aklan, salmonella. And then parasites. This is already an undergraduate thesis, ectoenanda parasites. Then this one, we just suspect, because the sample that we got was not enough. In fact, there is one colony of Rosetus in Samal Island. Doon, ginis record kanina, Montfort Cave. Wow, pure! A lot of them, but we are not given permit to collect. We were not given the permit to collect. Kasi they don't want us to kill the bats. Gusto na kuhanin, pero but we want to get the liver, the kidney, so we have to kill. They did not us. So we do not have any sample of that. But that is a good cave wherein you get one species of bats concentrated in the millions. In the millions. And then the therapy, this is the latest that we have, the therapy, Orthorhea virus. And then this Yokose virus and also Parmavirus. So these are the results that we obtained. And good thing, although we want positive, but it is better to be negative. Especially with the Ebola response as well. Because there was a scare. Ebola, African Ebola is very fatal to humans. But Ebola response affects only the pigs and the monkeys. Once the pigs and the monkeys show it, then it is important to really slaughter them and then really eliminate them, because they can be source of infection. But according to Dr. Yoshikawa, the Ebola response is not really that, actually until now, it has not been proven to be pathogenic to humans, only to monkeys and pigs. So he said that there is no reason to really depopulate the pig farm.